Good afternoon, my sweet and wonderful little kitty cats. How is everybody on this Thursday? Again, we have almost made it through another week. If you see that red light button, you are catching me live right here in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, where it is rainy and dreary and kind of chilly out today. If that red light button is missing, you're just catching me on the replay. Hashtag replay down in the comments for me so I know you were here. I would greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, come on in. This is my segment in Craft Round the Clock today. Let's have some fun while we can craft together, chat, and all the good things. So come on in, say hello. I would love to welcome you. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, whatever it is that you're deciding to do. And thank you so much for joining me for a bit of it. So we are going to do a new project today, and we're going to work on a little canvas bag. Hi, Amanda. How are you? So nice to see you. I see some eyeballs coming right on in. Hey, beautiful Donna Sue. How are you, hon? So good to see you. And so I thought we would do something a little bit different with this one today. These little canvas bags I pick up for very, very reasonable at Hobby Lobby. Hi, Mary Grace. Nice to see you. Hey, sweet Mickey. Nice to have you. And this could make a nice little tote bag, like a makeup bag, I would say. Hey, Mary Lou. Hi, Pamela. It could just be a little ditty bag, I like to call it, for who knows what. You know, if you want to keep something in your car, like extra medications, Band-Aids, first aid kind of stuff, that would be fun. A little bag that you can put inside of your purse for other little goodies that you don't want to get, you know, wrecked by anything else in there. Hi, my sweet Tracy. Thank you so much for sprinkling me over into Craft Round the Clock today. Hey, sweet Carrie. Hi, Joyce Ann. Thank you, Mary Grace, so very much for the sprinkle. I appreciate that very, very much, guys. So this is just that, a little canvas tote from Hobby Lobby, and they are very, very, very reasonably priced. Even their larger totes, they have some that have some handles on them. So I did a little bit of prep work on this today so we could kind of get right at the good stuff. And first things first, I always put a little piece of cardboard or something in between my layers. Hi, Mary Lou. Thank you for the sprinkle, hun. Just so that we don't glue them together for any kind of decoupaging that we're doing. I just save, you know, little pieces of cardboard, things like that if you're ordering something in the mail. Otherwise, just cut something off of a box that you might have lying around and put that between. Then what I did is I used a product from Pentart called Fabric Medium. And you can get all of these Pentart items that we're going to use today on my link to TH Decor. This is basically like a primer, I would say. So I painted this on both sides. It comes off as a white looking color, and then it does dry a little bit more clear. And I look at it as something that's when you're doing any kind of fabric or canvas like this. Hi, Cheryl. Hey, Joanne. It is best to prime it. We have those like weaved layers going, you know, throughout each other. And if you decide not to use a primer, your paints and things might just soak in a little bit more. They might, like if you're doing stencils once in a while, I noticed, thank you Cheryl hun, that there could be a little bit more bleeding into the material. So I think it is perfect to use a fabric medium. I put it on in all different directions to kind of get in all the weaved layers of the fabric. And that's just kind of prepping our surface for any paints that we might use, any decoupage that we might do. I think it works fantastic. It's just my experience that it works so much nicer. And then we are going to decoupage on this. So just like we would with any kind of project that we're working on, our rice paper we're putting down, we wanted to pop on our project. So I painted just kind of very organically a white chalk paint. Hey, Debbie, nice to see you. I'm sorry, not a white chalk paint, a white fabric paint. My apologies. Hi, Maria. Thank you, hun. Here is the one that I use. You can get them in these little containers on Pentart. This is white. The other paints that we're going to use today are all fabric paints that can be found on TH Decor. Some of these I've had for a while, and I know they have revamped them since. But you can just go to the website, type in fabric in the search engine, and it will pop up with all the good things that you might be interested in seeing. So I did go ahead and paint that white fabric paint, and you want to make sure that this is super, super dry. Hi, Vermar Designs. Nice to see you. Hey, Donna. Good to have you. So that's what I've done on both sides of this. We're going to work on one side and see how far we get by doing it, and we'll kind of go from there. So I'm also going to use something that is specifically made for textiles / fabric. It's a decoupage varnish and glue specifically made for decoupaging with rice paper napkins on fabric, so it's perfect for today. There's my beautiful Barbara. How are you, hun? That's what we're going to use. And then my rice paper, I've kind of deconstructed it a little bit already, guys. This is what's left of it. So the whole piece is a decoupage queen paper. It's called Forever Yours. It's number 0556. I just water cut out what I wanted instead of putting this on as one big piece, which I've normally done in the past. I would take my rice paper, kind of water cut it to fit my project. Water cutting just meaning using a little paintbrush or a water pen to get that little feathered edge so that we don't have a harsh line. That's just my preference. And instead of doing that today, I thought I would treat this a little bit more like kind of a mixed media project. So all the little pieces I water cut out, we can put on there as we want them to go. This is kind of the main piece for the side we're going to be working on. And then we can add some of the other elements from the rice paper. Hey, sweet Judy Sue. So good to have you on. Where we want them instead of having to put them on in one big piece from our rice paper. So that's that one. Then I also like to pull a second piece of something that I think might go nicely with what I picked in case I need some little fill-in areas. So I picked this one, and this is also from Decoupage Queen. It's an AB Studio, so I should take that back. Hey, sweet Jody. It is from my TH Decor link that you can search for AB Studios, and it's number 1316. And I just thought that blue was super pretty. So in case we need them, I water cut out, just kind of fussy cut around a few of the pieces. And let me show you what those look like in case you want to fill in with something. That's okay, sweet Joyce Ann. I'm so happy that you were here to say hello. And if you can make it back, that's wonderful too. If not, you take good care, okay? How is my beautiful Jody? Hey, Stephanie. So we're going to start just kind of putting these pieces down. I have all kinds of different embellishments, lace, pearls, bling, all the things. I'll kind of show you some options and ideas on what you can do with these. I think you can make them either as simple as you want or kind of, you know, zhuzh them up as much as you want. And what a great gift, right, for Mother's Day. So if you don't have rice papers, you could definitely use napkins. And I think flowered patterns, birds, birdhouses, anything like that would be gorgeous for Mother's Day, right? If they don't use it as a makeup bag. Hi, Carol. I'm sure, I don't know about you guys, but I have tons of these little bags that I use for travel or whatnot. So I think they're awesome for gifts too. So we are going to go ahead and start building this side. Hope you can see me okay. I'm going to put you down just a little bit, make sure you can see. Okay. And so when you're using your decoupage varnish and glue for textiles, I also want to make sure I have a fairly good amount of this down. And I was perfectly okay with having maybe some of the white paint kind of sticking out a little bit. So it's not necessarily something that we have to cover completely. I want it to look a little bit more organic. You have a few minutes. I'm happy that you popped on to say hi. Hi, Irma. Nice to see you. So let's do this. It's, I would say, a little bit more, it's not as thick as what I would say like your normal decoupage varnish and glue would be. But I also like to go back and forth with it and just put a generous coat of this down. Then I'm going to go over the top of our rice papers that we put down today with this same varnish and glue. Hi, sweet Mom Barb. And then my suggestion, I got a little thread in there, is that you definitely heat set it if you are able. I think that when I embellish these, sometimes it makes it a little bit harder if you have to wash it. You might have to spot wash it if you get something on it, versus just using rice paper. If you use these products to put it down and to seal it and you heat set it, you could wash it. You might have to do a little iron job on it and definitely just hang it to dry. You're never late, sweet Kim. It's nice to have you, darling. So what I'm going to do here with some extra embellishments is going to make it something that you wouldn't want to wash, but you could just kind of spot treat it if you got something on it. So I do have my little tiny iron out. we are going to be doing some stenciling on here. So I'm just going to kind of decide where I want it. And it's the same thing you would do for any decoupage with rice paper or a napkin. You're just doing it on a different surface. Has anybody done these before? And if so, how do you like it? Have you used this type of product? I've also done it with like the fabric Mod Podge, and that works nice too. So this was just kind of a fun springy paper with the pretty rosy pinks and blues I thought would be nice for a little tote like this. Hi, sweet Kimberly. How are you, darling? So good to have you on. Thank you for being here. And then a couple other little pieces all out of this very same rice paper from Decoupage Queen. Our little Paris feature here with like a little stamp next to it. And then I have this tiny little birdhouse. So this rice paper really reminded me of something I could see myself picking for like a mixed media piece. And because they were kind of all over the rice paper, thank you, Kim, is why I thought it would be kind of fun to just, you know, kind of feather cut them out, and we could place them on then where I want. Oh, that's fantastic. Good, Mom. Good. So you can hear me right in your ear like crazy then. That's a great idea. Ever since several years ago, I don't know if any of you suffer with migraines. I know a lot of you do. Hi, Pam. There's a piercing that you can get on the very inside of your ear called a daith piercing. And I thought, why not? It's worth a shot, right? If it were to help with migraines, I think it would be fantastic. I don't know for sure if it did or not. But ever since then, I can't really wear those, any kind of earbuds, because I can't get them in there comfortably. So let's see where I want our little birdhouse. I kind of like it down there. I think that's pretty. And it goes down beautifully. I don't really get too many wrinkles unless I'm using a napkin. And if that's the case, when you iron it, sometimes those will come out just beautifully. So I have a few extra little pieces, all again from that same paper. Hello, beautiful Mom Sharon Hall. I think we'll use these on the back side. And that's why I thought it was okay that some of this had some white there. We are going to come in with, like I said, some stencils and some different fabric paints. But I kind of like how that looks with a little bit of the white coming out. So for right now, we're going to dry this a little bit. We'll decide on our stencils and what have you. And then, hi Betty, what paint did you put on first? So first I started with this fabric medium from Pentart. It's basically like a primer. So I put that down in both directions. Thank you, Pam. When I put it on with my brush up and down to kind of get in all those little fibers. I let that dry really, really well. And then I just used a white fabric paint from Pentart. You could do any color you want as far as paints go. I've heard both ways on that earring piercing, right? Yeah. And I got both of them done right away because I thought, why not? If it helps me, even a minute percentage, why not do it? But I wanted white just because I knew I was going to be using some rice paper or, say, a napkin. If you do a napkin, you just want to get it down to your one ply, of course. And then that will also make sure that our prints will pop. Now, if you got a white canvas bag, you wouldn't have to do that part. It would already be white for you, right? Let's see, what did I miss here? Hi, Vicki. Extra set you're not going to use. I would. Sweet Vicki, why don't you send me a message, my darling? And we can definitely talk about that. I would be happy to help out if I can, my dear. And that way I don't forget, okay? I appreciate it. All right. So I have several different colors that I picked out here. I have a, what are they calling this one? A bluish silver. so pretty. There's a lot of different blues going on in here. I also have a denim. These are all fabric paints. Has anyone used Hobby Lobby's air hardening clay? I have not. Take it out of the bottom was stuck. Oh, I've never heard of that actually. That type of clay, Sweet Donna Sue. I have to go back and read your message again after the live. So I'm not 100% sure on that. And then I picked out a couple different pink fabric paints as well, both of these. They're a little bit off, right? They don't look like they're really gonna go together, but I think they will. Can I get the fabric paint on your link? So Betty, you can get it on my link to TH Decor. If you type in your, my gosh, comment area, exclamation point, THDECOR, all lowercase and no spaces, that chat bot will send you back a little message with a link. Click on there, and then in the search engine in the upper right of that website, if you type in fabric and hit search, it'll come up with all the colors that are available. You should be able to get your fabric medium if you want to try that. That's like a primer. And then you just want to get something that you can use that's specifically made to decoupage down fabric or textile. This is the one that I like to use from Pentart. It says textile right in that orange box. Okay. So we want to make sure this is pretty good and dry. I put some of that medium, you know, the varnish and glue down there where I didn't necessarily need it, but I have some other little pieces of material that you can put on here too. And I'll show you those when we get that far. So I think we're going to be good with that. I have also a couple little stencils that I pulled. So I think that they can make a really pretty, just added extra on your bags like this. I love them, especially, for example, let's say you're doing a larger tote bag and maybe your rice paper isn't going to quite fit the whole thing. You can do your same little paint blending that you would do if you're doing this on any normal craft project, a tray, a frame, whatever, and your rice paper doesn't fit. And then right where your paint kind of ends and your rice paper begins, I like to do a stencil right over that part because it kind of helps to hide the edge of your rice paper. All right. And I thought the same would hold true here. Even though we don't have rice paper covering the whole thing, a little bit down there, it just looks so pretty. So I've got something like this with some little flowers and leaves and vines. Very similar little roses of sorts, just not very viney there. And then just an extra little piece of leaves that I had. And I think, I want to say all those stencils probably came from Amazon or Temu actually. Okay. Just make sure that it's super good and dry before you start stenciling. I have several little stencil brushes out here, nothing specific. I have my little iron ready to go. I have this on about medium high heat, no steam, and that's gonna just set everything when we're done with any kind of painting on this side. You just wanna use a piece of parchment paper over the top of this. That kind of protects your surface and your iron, right? Boy, just right down there, does not want to dry. Thank you, Maria, darling. And sweet Carrie, I sent out your package this morning, hon, so let me know when you get it, okay? So excited for you to get it. I don't really think we need, you know, the extra pieces on this side, but I do think that these will match beautifully on the other side if we need them, where I have less rice paper pieces. To all the Keli-Kat kittens, that's cute, Mom. I love it. And or you could do the other side completely different. Maybe you want to paint all of it, you know, in a darker color or something that coordinates with the front, and then do a stencil over it. Maybe you do want to use your whole piece of rice paper like this, and you would just kind of measure it. I'm going to show you that. You know, you could measure it here water cut your edges so they're kind of feathery, and you could put that whole piece on the back, you know, and just make the front kind of your focal point. There's all kinds of ideas, right? So let's just decide what we want to do for colors and stencils. I like the flowers, so I definitely know I want to do a few of those. And I think we're going to do, let's do a blue and a pink. Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate it. Ooh, that is so pretty. I've never used this one before, and I love that blue. It is a delicate fabric paint, and they call it a bluish silver. To me, it's more blue. Let me get a little piece. My little plastic pieces here, I like to kind of use to, when I pick up the paint and then you're kind of offloading some of it, I like to do it on a little piece of plastic. And I just save them from things that I get in the mail. Sweet Carrie, I'm so excited for you to get it. So if you do some of the stencils right over the rice paper a little bit, I kind of like how that looks. So let's just do it, right? Let's just get at it and see what happens. And when I say, you know, kind of do it a little bit more organic, I just mean it doesn't have to be perfect, nor does any craft, right? But ooh, that's kind of a big one. Let's go with this one instead. If it's not all completely covered with paint and some of that white is showing, some of the little edges of the rice paper, I like that. So we're gonna do both colors here. And I'll show you, I'm going right onto that rice paper. Don't be afraid to. To me, it all looks like it's a little bit more cohesive then. And I like that look. Now down here where I have the stencil, it's just a couple little, let's say, petals of the flowers. Sometimes words are hard, guys. My gosh. Thank you, Trina. Thank you, darling. It's so nice to have you. Hi, my beautiful Giselle. I'm so sorry I missed some of your live, my darling. I will watch that replay. I saw it, my beautiful Trina. I just hadn't had a chance to open it. Thank you so much, though. So I'll show you what I mean down here as soon as I lift it off. And that too, to me, is a little more organic. I'm not using the whole part of the stencil. Backroom Creations, how are you, darling? Nice to see you. Let's see if I want anything else before I lift it off. I think that's good. I love it. That is so pretty. So down here, it's just a few of the petals. And right there, I went right onto the rice paper. I love how that looks. Just kind of picking up some of those colors in that rice paper to make it look like it was one bigger piece, you know? So let's do the same over here, but maybe over here I go up just a bit. That pink is beautiful. This is called, let's see what color I've got here. Doesn't say on there. Doesn't say on here, just says pink. Thank you, Irma. So there it is. If you're interested in that color, it's just pink. I definitely always get white, and I'm pretty close to being out of that because that way some of your other colors you can kind of mix with white if you want to, you know, get a little bit more of a light color going on there. So white, black is good for mixing or, you know, changing up your color a little bit. Let's do a little bit more down here. And I also try to get colors that are kind of in my wheelhouse that I know I'm going to use a lot. Hi, Teresa. Hey, Ricky, nice to have you. How are you? Thank you, Joanne. Hi, my beautiful Carly. Hi, Laura. Appreciate you guys being with me. Thank you so much. But then I also like to challenge myself just a little bit, and like this bright, bright pink is probably not something I would think I'd use often. Lori, Resiliently Crafting, hello and welcome in. Thank you for the sprinkle. Appreciate it. Some of my stencil brushes have seen their better days. So around this one, I'm not going to use the whole stencil either, or it's going to interfere with our little Eiffel Tower there. But I like how that looks. And we're going to do a couple of the leaves down here, and we're going to do them in blue. They don't have to be green, right? They could be completely unrelated to your rice paper if that's what you like. There's no rules, right? But I think it would be so much fun for gift giving, you know, purposes. If you know somebody really loves birds, that you can find a napkin with all birds, or, you know, somebody who loves yellow and pink flowers, you can really personalize it then, right? I like that. Let me just make sure before I remove it. I think that's good. Okay. And then you just do as much or as little as you like. I really love how that's coming together. So pretty. If that's a little too bright for you, you can mix a little color with your colors to tone them down a little bit. I thought this should be just nice, bright, and pretty. And I was gonna do a little green, but I don't think we need it. Let me see if I want a little bit of leaf work on the rice paper, or maybe down towards the bottom. Let's see here. And do I just want to use this darker blue. It is so, so pretty. This is denim. So let me grab another smaller little stencil brush here. You don't need much, and I'm just tapping off a good amount of it on my little plastic piece here. We have all kinds of blues kind of going on in here. So our little leaf area down here, I like. And that fabric medium really, really does help as far as kind of prepping your fabric to accept your paints like this. Hey, my sweet Denise. Thank you, Donna. Then maybe we want to make a few little, you know, leaves coming off of one of the flowers. I like that idea. I pulled a green fabric paint that I was going to lighten just a little bit with some white paint, but I'm deciding I don't think we need it. Just a few. Ooh, that kind of makes like the whole thing just pop, and I love that. And then we're gonna do a little small set up here, and I think that'll be good. But you could get crazy however you like it. Plus then, wouldn't it be fun, you know, you could use the bag and put, you know, a little gift inside the bag. Oh, I got to do one more down here. That color blue is just making the whole thing kind of come together, and I like that. Oops. All right. So pretty. I think that is so nice. Hi, my beautiful Lori. Nice to see you. I'm so glad that you made it too. Thank you, Denise. I appreciate it. So that is so fun to me. Let's dry that. We'll heat set it. And then we're gonna do some embellishing on here. Watch my time here. 45 minutes goes so stinking quick, doesn't it? But I, of course, will finish the backside, decide what I want to do on there. I may end up just using exactly as I showed you with this one. This is an AB Studios rice paper. It is number 1316, 1316. And it might be nice to just have a pattern on one side. Thank you, Lori and Sweet Carrie. Thank you for those hearts. I appreciate it so much. And just like that could be good, you know? Thank you, Pam. I appreciate it, dear. You wouldn't have to do anything else to this if you didn't want to. Well, thank you, my sweet Joanne. I really, really like it. Thank you, Tracy, my sweet home living. So happy to have you on. Thank you, Irma. I just think that is so much fun. So if you didn't want to do anything more than this, thank you, Barbara. All you have to do is heat set it and you would be good to go. I know it sure does. Vermar Designs, is it Vera? Is that your name, sweetie? I'm so sorry. I hope that's right. Thank you, Patty. And then you could wash this. I would definitely wash it on a delicate cycle. I would flip it inside out. I would wash it in a little mesh laundry bag. That's usually what I do. I have decoupage like this on shorts a few different times, shirts, all that kind of stuff. You can have the extra 15 minutes. Are you sure? I would love that. Hi, Kimberly. Nice to see you. Miss Tracy said we could have until 4:45. Whoop, whoop. That is awesome. Thank you. And then what I would do when it's done washing is just hang it to dry. And once it's dry, it's probably going to need a little bit of a light iron to it. I would definitely not use any steam or water. Did you hear about Kathy Morgan? I did not, sweet Trina. Oh. I don't want to hear what I think you're going to tell me. That makes me sad. Okay. And again, we want to make sure this is really good. Okay, good. Vermar Designs. I am so glad. Thank you. I was like, ooh, I saw her on the Zoom meeting. What is her first name? I got to remember. It's right there in your name, right? So I just touched that paint and I got it on my hand, so I know it's not quite dry. If you try to iron it, then it's okay. Hi, Rhonda. I just came on. What did you put on before paint? I put on a fabric medium. This is like a primer for textiles and fabric. And I brushed it on in 2 different directions, up and down, so it kind of fills in all those fibers. And let that dry really well. And then all I did was use a white fabric paint on the whole thing. And dry that super, super well. You want to make sure you have a little something in between the layers of your bag. I just have a little piece of cardboard in there. So let's say this wasn't 100% dry and you wanted to heat set it. If you put it on, you put your parchment paper on it. Hi, Anita. Thank you. I appreciate that. If you pull that parchment paper off really fast, you might take some of that paint off with it. So I like to make sure, A, I'm drying it really well, and B, when I take my parchment paper off, I just peel it off really slowly. It's still just a little bit wet. So that one must be a little bit of an older paint. I've had some of these for a while, and I do know they changed them after I got some of these. So if you see on TH Decor, they might look a little bit different. Some might just say fabric paint. And some of my older ones say fabric and leather. I know you can't read that very well. I have done it before on like a faux leather, and there you can't heat set it because of the type of material that it is, right? So while it is beautiful, it would be only something that you could kind of spot clean. I'm so happy to have all of you on with me. Thank you so much for being here. I just love how the little stencils add something so different and so pretty. Come on down there, let's get dry, right? Everybody have a schluck while we're waiting. I'm having flavored water, that's it. So, I have my little parchment paper here. You definitely want parchment, not wax paper. And that's a good idea in this particular situation, especially it shows you that if I didn't put that parchment paper on and my paint was a little bit wet, it's going to pick up onto my iron too. And I don't want that, right? What does my sweet Trina say? Just check my post. I will, sweet darling. Thank you, hun. But isn't that pretty, that beautiful bird? I thought about putting a crown on here, so that's an option as far as embellishing goes. I have a little Totally Dazzled crown. It is silver though, and I don't have one that is gold like the little bird has. So I think I'm gonna come in here with a few little rhinestones just right in the crown portion, just for a little bit of sparkle. Okay, we're gonna call that good, hopefully. So we put our parchment paper down and we dry heat our iron, no steam or anything like that. Hey, beautiful Carol Ann, nice to see you. Thank you, sweet Trina. Isn't that is so pretty? I love birds too. And this is just kind of heat setting the paint, the rice paper, you know, the varnish and glue that we used underneath. Also helping to get out wrinkles. Thank you, Carol Ann. I'm so glad you like it, Anita. Thank you. And then I am just super careful when I pick it up, and you can see that would have gone onto my iron, right? We don't want that. So as far as embellishing goes, let's just close these up for right meow, because it would be my luck to spill them all over, right? You could definitely glue on, you know, Totally Dazzled or other little pieces. I like to collect old jewelry. You can actually cut them up, snip off pieces, glue those right on. Then it's going to be a little harder to wash, of course, so just kind of keep that in mind. But then I have some little fabric pieces here from my sister's wedding gown, and I was feeling so bad about cutting it when she gave it to me, and she said, I'm going to donate it anyway, so you better get some pieces off of it that you want. You could use little pieces like that on a corner. I don't know if we necessarily need it, but I have other little pieces like this that you could glue on. I think would be so pretty. Now, that to me looks like it actually created a few more wrinkles than what I had. So let me iron a little bit more here. Either way, I'm fine with it. I just want to double check. If I need to get those out, or if I can. And I do like to make sure I'm getting all the edges really well of any rice paper or napkin. And just gently pick that up. So I think that's just in the fabric. I don't mind how that looks. I have a bunch of different things. So I love lace. Hi, Sherry. Thank you for the sprinkle. And I personally think that could be quite cute up top. So I think I want to stay with like white lace and pearls, but you could definitely use some kind of bling trim on the top. This is that self-adhesive trim. It's kind of in those Aurora Borealis colors, so it looks a little bit different any way you look at it. You could do both. You could put lace and then a piece of your bling trim down. I kind of have a brighter pink bling trim. That could be really cute over our little lace piece here. And I'm thinking I might cut off this little top part just so we don't cover so much of the pretties that we have down. So then this, I could use that decoupage varnish and glue to try and glue this down. In this case, I think I'm just going to use like the 3-in-1 glue that I pulled out here. So I just cut that off a little bit so that we're not covering so much of the pretties we have here. So here's the 3-in-1 beacon glue. And I just got that from Hobby Lobby. So let's put some of it down here. Who else here loves lace? Oh my God, I have so much of it. But I am making a whole bunch of those styrofoam hearts from the dollar store for wedding decor. And so I've been using quite a bit of my lace stash, which is great, but I'm gonna have to definitely restock. And oftentimes, guys, I find it when I'm thrifting. So there's a couple places near me that normally always have it. And it could just be, you know, a couple yards of it here and there. You love it too, sweet Laurie? I can't help myself. So does Irma. So I get pretty lucky as far as that goes to find all kinds of different pieces of it, different colors, all the things. So that's really pretty. I like it. You absolutely love it too, Carrie. So what do you guys think about this like super bright bling trim right over the top of that? Let me hold it up there so you can see. Oh, I'm so sorry about that noise. You do too, my sweet Barbara. I definitely love like the vintagey looking lace. And sometimes I think I find that more often than I do. It is timeless, Denise. I agree. Oh, I'm so sorry about that noise. So that really goes, there we go, quite nicely. Rhonda K, I did use fabric paint, my dear. Yes, I sure did. So this is the pink fabric paint I used from Pentart. You did, Martha. That sounds beautiful. I love that. I like it in all kinds of different shades too. And then we use the denim fabric paint. And we use this bluish silver fabric. These are all from Pentart. Let's just see. I think this might be kind of pretty on there. I myself like pink. Thank you, sweet Lori. Good, good. Let's put some down. So this is from Temu. It's that self-adhesive kind. And I might, oh, that's gorgeous. That is just gorgeous. It is summer, spring, you know, upcoming. So I think a little brighter color is perfectly okay. You could definitely glue this. Thank you, Denise. But this stuff, for me, it has never gone anywhere, and I don't know that I've ever really glued to the back of it. What also would be super pretty on here is like a Totally Dazzled applique could be gorgeous. Once you find the right side to peel off. There we go. I too, when I ordered this, did not know that I would love it or use it. But when I was kind of putting everything together for this today, I thought, ooh, I think I have a spot for that pink. And you know what? If the person didn't want to use this, wouldn't it be beautiful just set out, like, say, even in your bathroom on a little tray or on a dresser? You could stuff it out with some paper so that it looks nice and, you know, chunky, and have some varying things that kind of match go with it. I think that could be really pretty too. It can definitely be just for decor. So pretty. It goes great with that pink. I've seen any of that in different colors before. Yes. Hey, sweet Jamie. Good to have you. Thanks for joining. But you could also use pieces like this, little pearl pieces. Something like this for trim on the top is so pretty also. Little pearls. Thank you, Patricia. You could use little, this comes in a roll from Hobby Lobby, so you could cut off what you wanted and put little pieces of that. I agree, sweet Lori, right? And maybe you just want, you know, a little corner, let's just say. How could I do this? Probably just like so. Yeah, I mean, that would be super pretty. So you just kind of cut it to look like a corner, and then you can glue that on there. Thank you, sweet Lori. Thank you, Jamie. I like it too. Hi, sweet Wanda. Thank you, Carrie. You resemble that remark. What did I say, Denise? I'm so sorry. As long as we're at this part, let's do a little bit of rhinestones just on the crown of that bird, I think. Hold on here. Let me think. I mean, we're going to do the pink. It's a perfect match for the paint and the little bling trim. So I'm going to use a little diamond glaze. Thank you, sweet Donna Sue. I just have my little picker pen out here. My diamond glaze chunky Denise. My diamond glaze is in this little guy. Thank you, Maria. So it has that little tip on there that is just so nice to be able to direct it only where you want it. My little picker pen will pick up that rhinestone perfectly, and once I set it in that glue, it drops it right off for you. Totally Dazzled has 50% off right meow of their mystery bags. That is the special for May. Ooh, the pink is so pretty on there. All right, I like that. Sometimes just that little bit is all you need, right? And then, let's see what else I have here. So I have a bunch of different little embellishments that you can glue on. Hey, sweet Lynn, darling, you did. You got my Reba bundle. Isn't it beautiful? If any of you are interested, I have a Keli-Kat inspired bundle of rice paper out on Reba Rose Creations. If you need that link, it is in my link tray, !LINKTREE. So these also come from Temu. They're just little plastic pieces, little flowers, butterflies, bows, things like that. Could be beautiful on there. Maybe you want to deck out your bird and put some kind of a bow right around his or her neck. Could be cute. That's kind of fun, isn't it? What do you guys think about that? Thank you, sweet Lynn. You could do a totally dazzled little bow, which I don't think I have one small enough. Let me see here right quick. Most of what I have, yeah, is pretty large and in charge there. A little key on here would be super cute. As kind of a little embellishment. A little heart. I have a little totally dazzled heart that says love right there. Thank you, my sweet Lynn. That's also really cute. Yeah, all of my tiny little bows are gone. But I kind of like that. I kind of like that on there. What do you guys think about it? Thank you, sweet Heidi. You saw that and it's on your list. That's so fun, Carrie. Thanks, hun. So I may add a couple of these little guys too. We could put, oh, that is so cute. That little guy just looks so stinking fun right in the center of that flower. Glue that right on. And you know what? I have done quite a few purses by doing the same kind of, thing that we're doing right here. Use a little decoupage varnish and glue that is specifically made for that type of stuff. And I've done a few like patent leather ones. You like it on there, Irma? Okay, good. You're back, Cheryl. I'm so glad. Did I just pick up that piece with my, oh my gosh, right here. Come on, Kel, get it together, right? Let's use a little tweezer. Or not. There we go. Right in the center. So of course that will take just a little bit to set up, but I like it on there. Let me see what else. I have so many things out here. I want to get to this part before we run out of time. So for the zipper, you have a bunch of different options as well. Let me tell you what I think they could be. I actually had this tiny little tower in my stash. It's not quite the Eiffel Tower, but very close. So I just put a little piece of sari silk right through that little eyelet that was on it. And you could just tie this off onto the zipper. And then you would use that as kind of like your zipper pull. That could definitely work and be so cute and so pretty. I kind of wanted to do some kind of a fun little tassel, if you want to call it that. And so we're going to kind of experiment here. I pulled out a whole bunch of different color laces, sari silk in the pink here, sari silk in kind of that cream. There's some white little pearls in there, all different kinds of laces that I had, and I cut them for the most part the same length. It's Big Ben, yes, Kimberly, right? But I thought it could work. So I just kind of laid those out, cut them roughly the same. And then what I think we could do is gather it up here as if we're making a little tassel, at the top. Let's gather it here. And to hold that together, hi Cheryl, we are gonna try using a little clear elastic for your hair because then you're not gonna see it. I hope so, sweet Lori. I use these all the time. I have one in right meow. They hurt like the dickens to pull out though, I'll tell you. So just kind of, let's try this. Just to add another layer of something else. That's what you would do on a mixed media piece, right? you can add all the things, right? I think so too, my Kimberly darling. And now you could tie this off with another piece of lace or sari silk or, you know, whatever you have. But I just thought, hey, this would be kind of nice. You're not going to really see it. I want it to be kind of messy and what have you. So I like that. Of course, you can be a little more careful and make it a little more perfect if you want. Let's just trim a little bit. Those little pearls are so pretty in there. You could take a little bit of that rhinestone like bling trim and just, you can cut that. So you could cut a row of it off and use that instead on like your little bird's crown, something like that. I think would be cute. I'm gonna cut this one with this guy. Sometimes if they're a little bit too wide, I don't know why, but it bothers me. So I'll just cut right down the center. I think that is stinking cute. And then if you wanted, you could embellish something else on there, a little flower right there, glue that on. But then in this case, we can, I think I could tie it with a couple of these pieces right to the zipper. Let's just see. Let's just see. Plus I want to think about it a second before I do it. That piece is a little too long. Or we could use a little keychain like this. You can get these at Hobby Lobby, at Joann's, I think even at your Walmarts and things like that. So what if, let's tie it on. And they come in different finishes. So this is kind of like an antique-y looking little bronze. That way I don't have to tie the actual, let's just see before I knot that. Because it has the little, you know, like the little lobster claw there, and then you could put that right through your zipper, maybe. Let me try it. I don't know if I'm going to like this, but it's an option. Because how is it going to look when it's not in use, right? So, I mean, it would just be kind of hanging off the side. I don't know how I feel about that. Or we could just attach it to the bag and do the other little guy for the zipper pull. I feel better about that. What do you guys think? It looks kind of wonky just hanging there. So I can untie it. And I think what I would do with that, let me see if I can find them. Hold with me, guys. Hold with me. There we go. So you can get these little guys that you can glue on the back of your lace pieces, those little pins, and then we could just pin it right on. That way I don't have to glue it, and I feel a little bit better about it staying on. Boy, that's a large one. Somewhere I have some smaller ones of these. Let me see. But we could definitely pin it up and down. So I would just glue this on the back, and then I can pin that right through our canvas portion here. I think that's better. And then we would just put that little pull right on the zipper. Because it's so stinking cute, right? Hi, Phyllis. Let's try that. Shorten that up a bit. All right, we're just about out of time, guys. I won't get the back side finished, of course, today. But I hope this kind of inspires you to try it and just kind of play around. Sometimes I have an idea in my head on how I think it's going to go, or it could work, and then it's completely different in the end. So I just have that little sari silk that I was able to make small enough to fish that little guy right through there. And that can be your little zipper pull. Hey, Roddy Mom Craftin', nice to have you, hun. And you can find these type of little embellishments all day long at the Hobby Lobby and places like that. Wait for them to go on sale for sure. So the rhinestones, let's see what else. Do I have anything else we wanted on this side? What do you guys think? Is it needing anything else? I think that is so cute. We could definitely put more rhinestones on there. That's okay, my sweet Phyllis. Never ever are late. So fun. I love it. I kind of just love it just as is. But you could go as much or as little as you want, you know? And then on the back side, as far as what I think I want to do back there, let's just see how these extra little pieces look. So this is from that rice paper too, and like a little postcard. Thank you, Phyllis. So here's what I kind of want to try, and I hope I don't ruin the whole thing. What if we put a little stencil on the back, because there is some script lettering and things going on from the rice paper. So I have this little script stamp, not stencil, my apologies. Leave it as is, Lori? Okay. And let's try this. I could just make myself a huge mistake, but we don't know until we try it, right? So I'm gonna put it on my little ink block here. Thank you, sweet Giselle. And I am gonna use a permanent ink. This is Jet Black Archival ink. I am trying so hard to get better at stamping and all the things. Sometimes I feel like we just gotta go for it, right? So that's why I say let's just do it. And then I can kind of build off of that with the other pieces of rice paper. So if you accidentally get any ink on like your block, I try to make sure I get rid of that so it doesn't transfer onto my fabric. You definitely want to make sure it's very good and dry. So you see kind of the little script right there. That's kind of a little postcard looking thing that was behind this little bucket. So let's just try it. And pray for the best, right? Let me see. Put that little piece there. I think we do this on an angle just to say we do a little something different here. Lay it on there. Hi, my beautiful Danielle. How are you, darling? Pray for the best. Cross your fingers. Always have it held down with one hand. So if you're going to switch hands, push with the other hand and then, you know, around the rest of your stamp so that you always have it anchored is what I gather. That's what I gather from Robin and Victoria when I see them doing it. Of course, I got this awesome ink. I don't know, what did I just call this? This acrylic piece here from Greg's mom. Okay, I'm nervous now. Thank you, Jamie. Let's just see. All right, it didn't go down very well. Probably because I'm stamping on that cardboard. So let's take that out, and that's okay. Hi, Regina. Let's try it again. If there's any little overlapping there, we're gonna be okay with it because we're learning together, right? Exclamation point notify. Thank you, Irma. If you put that in your comments, you will get a little chat bot back with a link to my Telegram. You just have to make sure you have the Telegram app. Acrylic block. There you go, Phyllis. Good morning. How are you, Francis? Nice to see you. Let's try this again. And even if it doesn't work, I like the look of that. I can always cover, you know, a portion of it with the rice paper, so it's totally okay. It looks vintage-like, yes. Yeah, so I guess because we're pushing into something, you know. So let's just see. Either way, I'm going to be okay with it. And I like to learn together, right? Hi, Kim. So good to see you. I'm going to put some weight onto that thing. All right, let's see if that's a little bit better. Acrylic block. I got to try to remember that. Thank you, Phyllis. Let's try it again. Okay, a little bit better. But I do think you're right. That works pretty good. Hi, Martha. Foam piece inside to get it all even. Okay, good to know. Thank you so much. Push on your stamp when big. I think that's quite pretty and different. And my little flower has that like script on it also. Sit on it, right, Phyllis? And that matches so pretty. So I think I'll be building off of that. Do I want any more? I mean, maybe I just do a little bit more around it and not fill in the whole stamp. It looks distressed. See, I was going for that. I think that's pretty. And then maybe I do use one of these pieces and I can just tuck that so that a portion of it is kind of peeking out, pulling out some of that blue. Or do we want a bigger piece? We just have a minute or two left here, guys. I think that could be so pretty with maybe just a couple little flowers in the pink and blue like we did on the front, so it all kind of works together, and I would probably call that good. That's kind of fun. That is super fun. So I have to get a little bit better at stamping on fabric. Thank you, Phyllis. I appreciate that so much. So there's the front. I think I'm going to leave it alone. I think it's beautiful as is. All fabric paints from Pentart. Thank you, sweet Carrie. Stand up for more pressure and don't wait too long in between inking and stamping as it dries fast. Okay, good to know, Mom. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, guys, we have just about a minute left here. Thank you, Jamie and Kim. I appreciate it. Thank you, Martha. Maybe it was okay. It worked out that way, right? I appreciate you joining me for my segment in Craft Around the Clock today. If you're not a part of Craft Around the Clock, I would love to have you join there. It is a free group to join. You can see crafting basically either live or on replay 7 days a week. And there are some amazing and wonderful creators and crafters out there that you might fall in love with that you never knew, right? Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you, sweet Donna Sue. So I hope you all enjoy your evening, whatever it is you decide to do. I'm so glad you chose to share a part of it with me. I will be back on tomorrow. Check out my page for details on that, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thank you so much for being here. Take good care, guys.